What's up, guys? I've got a little bit of explaining to do. There are reasons why I've been away for so long. I took about a week's break away from everything, and then when I got back, a lot of personal things went wrong for me. I had to take a bit of time away from everything. And then beyond that, I managed to smash my phone, so I wasn't able to record voice for a little bit. And now the camera that I'm using is busted, so there's been a few issues, but I'm back now, and there's lots of plans for videos in the future. Anyway, this is how to paint orc flesh quickly, easily, and with as few steps possible by hand. So the first step we're doing here, we are base coating all of the flesh with just a regular size brush, any brush will do, with Castellan Green from Games Workshop. For the next step, I'm just using a regular brush again and washing all of the flesh. Now, there are a few ways you can do this. For this, I'm just using straight Agrax Earthshade, so if you want to replicate this exact tone, you can do that. But a good idea for flesh, especially over the course of a lot of models, is to vary it up a little bit. I'd recommend using a Thonian camo shade from Games Workshop as well, and you can play around with mixing those two as well as thinning it down so that it's not as prominent across all of your separate dudes. Now I'm just using Citadel layer Elysian Green, and we're just going to lay out all of the flesh again. You want to leave the deeper, darker recesses to allow some, just some easy shading to remain there. So just pick out the higher edges as you go. I've now mixed that same Elysian Green with a little bit of Citadel layer Yriel Yellow. That'll just brighten up the tone while still keeping that greenish color to it, as opposed to making it more of a pastel, which is what mixing white would do. We're going to pick out the same areas, just a slightly smaller area of them. I've now taken that exact same mix, still wet because I use a wet palette, and I have added some white to it now. So that's going to make it a bit more of a, you know, whitish muted pastel tone, but still very bright. And we're just going to pick out the highest points of this flesh now. Now we're going to pick out a little bit of a pinky area at the tips of the ears and around the lips. For this I've used the Games Workshop Elysian Green and I've mixed it with Squid Pink. You can use any bright pink, it'll work all the same. So we're just going to do just the highlights around the lips and the tips of the ears. I've now added a little bit of white to that same mixture and just pick out just the very, very tips. This will give us a little bit more depth in that pink. I'm now base coating all of the teeth with Vallejo Game Color Khaki. We're now just going to slather some Agrax Earthshade over the teeth. I'm now picking out all of the teeth, leaving behind some shade around the base of the teeth and obviously in between. And I'm using Vallejo Model Color Ivory. I'm now just going to put a dot of Yriel Yellow on the eyes. If you're not confident to pick out these tiny little areas, I'd recommend just leaving them, because leaving the eyes bare and shaded in as opposed to botching them always looks better in my opinion. But once we've done this, we're completely done with the model. You can see how they all look now. I hope you found this tutorial both interesting and helpful. Hope it makes your orcs a little bit more interesting and easier to replicate quickly. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to support my Patreon. Links in the description. That's what helps me make these videos and gives me the leisure to have the time to do this. Beyond that, give me your feedback in the comments, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.